Hi everyone, my name is Sachin and I have 9+ years of experience in web development. I had worked on multiple tech stack like Node.js, React.js, Angular, and multiple technology. So uh, that's my introduction. So today we will learn about the JavaScript core principles. Like we will start from the basics of JavaScript. What is JavaScript? How it works? What are the core principles of JavaScript, like it is synchronous or it is asynchronous or it is single threaded or it is multi-threaded. So we will cover all these. So it will be the brief about these topics. So if you will have any doubts, we will cover it later. So let's start first. What is JavaScript and how basically it works? So JavaScript is a scripting language, we can say, because it doesn't require any type of compiler. It will directly execute in the web browser. So okay, when you see any web page on the website, so basically it is built in with two things, HTML and CSS. So it will create the static page. Okay, so let's take an example of any web page. Okay, so if I open the Google, so this page is created only in HTML and CSS if there is no action. Okay, so HTML CSS will provide you only the static page. When I say static page, it means there is no interaction between user and the page. So if you want to have the interaction between the page and the user, you need JavaScript to interact it. Let's say there is a search, there is search box. So user will type here, and after the type, it should get the results. So that works will be done by the JavaScript. So basically, JavaScript we do for the interaction of the user. So and second thing is JavaScript can be used on the server and on the browser as well. So using the JavaScript, you can develop your web applications. As I take the example of Google, so you can create any website in the JavaScript using JavaScript. Obviously, HTML CSS will be used to design the pages, and you can create the REST APIs on the server. So like in .NET or Java, we create the REST APIs. So the same thing you can do in the JavaScript. So there is a Node.js available to run on the server. So you can create the APIs using the Node.js. So how JavaScript works, we will see. But first, let's see what we can do using the JavaScript. First, as I mentioned, we can make the interactive behavior of the web page. For example, show or hide more information with the click of a button, change the color of a button when the mouse hovers. You can see in any website, when you hover the mouse on a button or any label, there is some behavior of it. So that's done by the JavaScript. Any carousel of the images on the home page, zoom in, zoom out. So these type of things you can do by the JavaScript. So it basically doing the interaction with the web pages. Second is you can create web as well as mobile apps. There is lot of frameworks available in the JavaScript. Using that you can create your web application as well as the mobile application. So there is React Native, Ionic, Angular, React. So multiple frameworks are there to create the mobile app and web app. Third thing is you can build your uh, backend, uh, like the web servers in the JavaScript using the Node.js. Okay, and game development, obviously you can also do the game development in JavaScript. So JavaScript is a like high demanding technology because you can do everything like front end, back end development, game development, mobile development using the JavaScript only. So those are the use cases which we covered about the JavaScript. So let's see how it works. So this is just a visualization of the JavaScript, how it works. So on the web page which we see on the website, so the layout will be created in the HTML, and the designing part like the CSS part is done in the CSS. So what happens when a web page load into a browser? So JavaScript engine will load everything, and it will take the DOM. So DOM is nothing, it is just a document object model which will have the complete JavaScript plus HTML plus CSS, and it will take care of the modification of any interaction. Let's say user just type something in the search box, or user is doing sliding on the carousel, so it will update the DOM accordingly. Okay, so how, that is the controls, like there is some static controls are there. Let's say you want to control this icon, so you can control this icon using the JavaScript, because JavaScript will provide you the access of the elements. So that is how it is working in the web page. Okay, so uh, let's say what we can see any example. So that is basically about the JavaScript and how it works. So we will see all the features. So let's see on the second question, how uh, like okay, so the how the JavaScript works is like it works on a very simple way. Like it start from the top and execute all the lines. Okay, so it will not break any line, like it will not skip any line, it will go line by line. So let me give you one example. So let's say I am writing just one code here, one. So console.log, just to mention here, is to just print something on the browser. So let's say I have console log 3 4. So I have 4 lines here. So if I will run this code in the JavaScript, so what it will do, it will basically start from here, uh, like because we are starting the code from here. These are the code commenting. When we do the double lines, that means we are doing the code commenting. So JavaScript engine will not execute these lines because these are already commented. Commented means JavaScript engine will not execute those. So code execution start will happen from the line number 7. So what it will happen here, so it will start from here and print 1, then print 2, print 3, then print 4. So it will start from the top and execute all the lines. So that is purely synchronous. Okay, so synchronous means everything will be done in a sync way. Okay, let's try to run it. So in VS Code, Visual Studio Code, you can simply run with node and just pass the server.js. So you can see the output here. So 1, 2, 3, 4. So that is the basic normal execution of the JavaScript engine. I will cover all those scenario, like how JavaScript can behave asynchronous way, what are the methods available in which uh, we can achieve the asynchronous in JavaScript. So that is the basic idea about JavaScript and how it works. Okay, now let's come into the asynchronous part. So I already explained the synchronous part, like what is synchronous. Synchronous means it will execute line by line only. Okay, so let's go to the second question. So second is what is asynchronous operation in JavaScript? Is JavaScript synchronous or asynchronous? Okay, so that is very interesting question. So it will like this question is asked multiple times in interviews and all. Like JavaScript is synchronous or asynchronous. So the simple answer is JavaScript is synchronous, single-threaded, non-blocking, asynchronous concurrent programming language with lot of flexibility. Okay, so how it uh, asynchronous? Okay, so JavaScript engine maintain a state data structure. So what happens when JavaScript engine start the execution? So it will not wait if there is any asynchronous operation. Let's say there is some web APIs are there. So I will explain what are the web APIs, like set timeout. I am just taking one example. So set timeout is just a function in which you can pass the duration. For that duration, it will hold it will not execute immediately. It will take that duration, and after the expiry of the duration, it will execute the function, whatever the function or whatever the code you would write in the set timeout. Okay, so for that, it will not, JavaScript engine will not wait for that. So that's why we are saying it will work as a asynchronous. Okay, so let's see some example here how it works. Okay, let me create some function here. So these are the just simple example. Let me create some function. So function, let's say print one, and in this print we are just doing the console.log, and we are printing one here. Same, we will create some more function just to see how the JavaScript behave. Okay, so basically we have created 4 functions here. Okay, let's make it, name it 4, 3 and 2. So I'm just making it as comment here, so it will not execute. So I am just declared 4 functions here. Okay, so if I will try to run this, so nothing will be printed here, because I have just declared those functions. I have not called them. I have not invoked those functions. So let me invoke those. Print one, print two, print three, print four. Okay, so if I will run the now, it will okay, let me change the values, sorry. So values same. Okay, okay, let me now execute it. So you can see the same flow, it is executing in the same way how we are executing it. So if let me take it here, print 2 first, then print 3, then print 1, then print 4. So in the same manner it will execute, like print 2 I am calling first, then it is showing 2, 3, 1 and 4. That means in the same order it is just printing, like it is calling the function in the same manner in which we are invoking those function. Okay, so what is the tricky part here? So the uh, when the web APIs come into the picture, or the asynchronous activity came into the picture, then the behavior of the JavaScript will change. That we call the asynchronous. Okay, so here nothing is asynchronous, everything is working fine. So let me use one API, a web API. Let me use the same. So print 1, 2, 3, 4. So same we are using here. So let me run it again for the production. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, so now I will add set timeout here. Okay, so what set timeout basically do is set okay, set timeout, let me give the syntax first. So set timeout have this type of syntax, like this is set timeout, then you will have a function. Inside this function, like you can have any like console.log or any logic, and then you will have the duration in which it will uh, execute after the execution of it. Okay, so let me try it here. So we have this set timeout. Okay, so here you can see we are doing some console log here. So but we can replace it, instead of this function declaration here, we can call our function as well. Let's say I am calling print 2 here. Okay, simple. Okay, okay, so in the normal case, what should be the output now? Let's see. By the by run it. Let me over it. Okay. Okay, just need to run it. Okay, now you can see it. Okay, great. So you can see 1, 3, 4, and in the last you are getting 2. Okay, why it is 2 is printing at the last? That's the asynchronous way of JavaScript. So what basically internally JavaScript do is it it will not wait for this. So set timeout basically what it does, it will just register a callback. It will register a callback. So callback is just a function which will execute after the condition satisfy. So what is the condition here? It is the duration of the time. Let's say 2 seconds here. Okay, so 2 milliseconds here. So what will happen once the once this duration, whatever the duration you are giving here, it is completely up to you, or you can give 0 as well. Okay, let's see what happens if I just pass 0. So I am not taking any time, just 0 I am putting. So so someone can confuse you, like if I am passing just 0, I am not waiting for any expired time, I am just passing 0. So it should give like 1 2 3 4, because I am taking 0 only. But no, it will not work like that. You can see still the same behavior is here. Why it is here like that? So I will explain it. So what happens internally when the JavaScript engine will see like set timeout in the line number 24? So it will okay, it will detect like it is a web API and I cannot wait for this set timeout. It will not check this duration, even it will not check this duration. It will just register a callback and move ahead. Okay, so JavaScript engine will not wait anymore here. So it will just assign the callback and start the timer with the duration, whatever the duration you have passed. Okay, let's say 0 millisecond is 0 seconds was there, 0 milliseconds was there. So what will happen, a callback is registered and timer API just started and found 0, and this function is ready to execute, like print2 is ready to execute. It's ready to execute. It's ready to execute. But our JavaScript engine is not free till now, because it still have some line to execute, like print 3 it needs to be executed, print 4 is still pending, it needs to be executed. So it will not wait for it. So what it will do, it will do the complete execution. Let's say here is 10 lines or more there is let's say 5 functions are also there. So it will not come to this there will be a event loop actually that take care all of these things, like which timer, which API has completed, which function is ready to execute. So this concept will take care all these things. But I am not going into the detail of event loop. Basically it will be covered in the upcoming sessions. So what will happen, JavaScript will execute the further lines, and once it is free it will check into the queue. So basically what will happen, let's say there may be multiple APIs are there, set timeout or fetch or multiple asynchronous activity can be there. So all those activity or callback will be there in the loop. So there will be a loop, there will be a queue, sorry. So in the queue all the ready to execute function will be there. Let's say print 3 will be there to execute. Okay, so once the JavaScript engine is free, it will check in the queue by the help of event loop. So event loop check, yeah, JavaScript engine is free now, so he can pick from the queue, and based on the priority it will pick from the queue and execute it. So then it is executing the print 2. Now again it will check in the queue, is there any function pending? If there is still some function pending or callback is ready to execute, it will pick from there and execute it. So that is the behavior of the JavaScript engine internally, how it works. And th- that's the asynchronous example using the set timeout. Okay, we will have multiple things to achieve the asynchronous way. Let me give some example here. So let's say we can use fetch. So fetch is just let's say you have a server URL which we can say API. So you need to fetch data from server, and you need to display it and display on the page. So what you will do Ajax call or fetch or whatever you will do. So it is asynchronous activity because it will take some time. First, the network call will go to the server, and then it will return some response from the server to the client. So it will take some time. So JavaScript engine cannot block the main thread. Okay, so that's why we say JavaScript is single threaded. Okay, and that makes it more performant. How it make it more performant, I will explain it. Okay, first let's understand it is a single threaded and non-blocking. Because we are saying non-blocking means it will not wait any uh, expensive operations means whatever the operations are taking more time, let's say DB call or third party server code. So JavaScript engine will not wait for those activities. Okay, so that's make the Node.js or JavaScript more performant compared to other programming language. Okay, so we have covered asynchronous and synchronous using the set timeout. So set timeout is just we can pass the duration here and the function which we want to execute after some delay. Okay, so that's about the set timeout. Let's see about our sheet. So yeah, browser web API events or functions are there which can be asynchronous, and this is the just visual way to define how it go to the call stack. Okay, uh, so already I have explained like what is asynchronous operations in JavaScript. Is JavaScript synchronous or asynchronous? So I have already explained these. Let's move ahead to the third question. Explain async using set timeout. Okay, so set timeout we were discussing already. So this is the set timeout, and we can pass the duration in the set timeout, and after that duration it will execute. Okay, that is the simple example here. 1 2 3, which we just got it. Okay, so this is just definition. If you want set timeout exactly definition, so set timeout execute a function once the time expires. Okay, so you want to run code after 2 seconds, you can use set timeout. Like just pass the duration, and whatever the code you want to execute after 2 seconds, you can pass it into the set timeout. Okay, and that is the syntax function and delay. Delay means the time duration you will pass, it will execute after that expire time. So anonymous function. Okay, so here you can see I am just passing the print 2. So there is another way I can use anonymous function. Anonymous functions are basically the functions which don't have any name. Okay, so JavaScript also support anonymous functions. So anonymous function where you don't need to pass any name. Let's see by the example. So here I am just printing something here. uh, I am from set timeout. Okay, so let's save it and just see what happened. Yeah, 1 3 4, and I am from set timeout. Great. So here we are not passing print 2, we can pass the anonymous function as well in the set timeout. That is the flexibility set timeout provides us. We can use anonymous function, we can use our custom function which we have already written. Okay, yeah. We can also use we can also declare the variable declare the function like this as well. Let me give one example. So there is multiple way to create the functions. One way is like this. Second way, let me give you, let uh, print 5, okay, equal to function. That is also a way to assign a function into a variable, and that variable will work as a function. Okay, let me type it here, or let's make it 5. Okay, so now I want to let's take it on the top of this space. Okay, now I just wanted to make it execute the print 5. So if you see here, uh, we are we are using the variable here, not function. In above functions, you can see function and the function name, but here I am taking the let is a type of uh, declaring the variable. So we can take where, we can take let, we can take const. So I will explain those later, but here I am just taking let, or we can take the where as well. Okay, just for an example. So I have just take one variable, and this variable I have assigned a function to it. So let's see, if I just take a variable here and just try to make it as a function, call it as a function, what happens? Okay, so let's see what happens. It is throwing error. Okay, now see, 5, we we are getting 5 in the last, because we have given the print 5 uh, in the set timeout, inside the set timeout. That's why as print 2, or uh, I am inside the set timeout. So that's all, like how it works. Like you can use the variables as a function inside the set timeout, you can use anonymous function inside the set timeout, you can use your custom function as well. So that's about the set timeout. And I believe you are aware about the uh, asynchronous and synchronous behavior of the JavaScript. Synchronous means it is simply executing without any wait, but if there is any wait or delay in the response, then it will behave in the asynchronous way. So JavaScript provides inbuilt web APIs like set timeout, fetch, promises is also there. So promises is also used for asynchronous activities, like APIs call to get the data from server. Let's say you are on the Facebook page, and you need to fetch the all the feeds. So to to get all the feeds, you will need the backend server where all the feeds are stored. So to get all the feeds on the page, you will need to hit the backend server API using the Ajax call, or you can use fetch, you can use promise. So there is multiple ways, but all are provide the asynchronous activity. So JavaScript engine will not wait, it will just register a callback and complete the execution. And once the execution is done, it will check in the queue using the event loop, and if that function is ready to execute, it will pick from the queue and execute it. That's as simple as that. Okay, so I believe uh, asynchronous and synchronous is clear. Now moving to the next part, and it is very I would say very common thing, and very basic thing about the JavaScript and Node.js. So it will ask in multiple interviews, like JavaScript is single threaded or multi-threaded. Okay, and why JavaScript, we say Node.js and JavaScript is very performant compared to Java, or Node compared to like Java, .NET, Python. In other programming languages, we say Node.js is more performant. So the reason is JavaScript is single threaded. So if anyone asks you like JavaScript is single threaded or multi-threaded, you will, the simple answer is straightforward, is it is synchronous and single threaded. Okay, so how it makes like JavaScript or Node.js more performant when we are using single threaded. Like in other programming languages, they are multi-threaded, but uh, single threaded, how it makes them more performant. Okay, let's discuss this in the detail. So I was discussing about the event loop, right? So how it works. So what happens, let's understand it by this but by this design. So what is, this is the JavaScript engine. So what it do, let's say we have this call stack. Okay, so in this call stack we have all the functions, all the code which needs to be executed. So whatever the code is synchronous, like console log, variable declaration, assignments, all will be uh, executed at the same time. Once I will get something which are ajax, like this one, ajax call are, as I mentioned here, ajax call are like fetch or promises, or ajax calls like third party server calls, uh, which will be asynchronous. Third one is dom, document updation. If you are updating your dom, like your uh, web page, it will also be asynchronous part. And third one will be timeout, set timeout, which we take the example. So these will not executing immediately, it will go to the queue, callback queue. We call it callback queue. And event loop is a listener here. It will check once the JavaScript engine is free from here, it will check like if it is ready to pick from here. Like let's say there is example of three uh, on click, on load, on done. Three callbacks are ready to execute. So once the JavaScript engine will free from here, it will check by the event loop. Like if you are free, you can pick on click. So first it will pick on click, then it will pick on load, then it will pick on done. And then if you, again it will check if it is empty, then it will stop. So that is the behavior of it. Okay, so how we were discussing, like how it makes it more performant. Okay, uh, okay, let's first discuss about the theoretical part, then I will explain it by the example. So JavaScript single threaded, it is asynchronous in nature, which means unlike other language, it doesn't wait for external operations and pick next task from event loop and came back to the task when external operations are finished, right? So as I explained, like it will not wait for external operations. External operations can be timeout, can be a db call, like if we are fetching Facebook data from the Facebook server, so it will be an external operation which will obviously take some time, some milliseconds, some seconds. So JavaScript thread will not be blocked, so it will behave in the asynchronous way. It will pick the next activity. So in the meantime, it can serve the more request from the user. That's why it is more performant. So it will not block the user, so user can perform some other operations. Okay, so let's take an example. If you are making an HTTP request, so HTTP request means we are calling some third party server APIs or reading from database. JavaScript will initiate the task and move on, right? So it will not wait for that request. It will just move on because it know after the execution it will be ready in the callback queue and it will pick from there. Okay, so that's in the example. JavaScript will initiate the task and move on the other task without waiting for completion of the HTTP or database request. That means it JavaScript just hit one request to the server and move ahead to serve another request or another API call or maybe some DOM manipulation. So in the meantime, the request response is coming from the server. JavaScript is doing something else. So that is the best part of JavaScript. Like it is not waiting until the response is coming, it is doing something. So JavaScript implement a concept called event loop, which you can visualize as queue, which store all the pending tasks to be done, which we see here. Like all the callback queue will be here. Let's say there was some API code, so it will be here after the result come from the server. Okay, and and it execute tasks from the queue one by one. When any task is start waiting from any external operation to complete, JavaScript just jump to another task from the queue. When the external operation completed, task is pushed again to the event loop for the execution. So let's take an example from here. So first line we have console.log1. So JavaScript engine will come here and execute it because it is just a normal printing task here. So it is just a synchronous task. Now it will come to the second line. It will see, oh, it is a fetch call. So it needs to be wait. So JavaScript, what the JavaScript engine will do, it will just register a callback in the web API and move ahead. It will not wait on the line number 2. Let's say it is taking Ajax call is taking uh, just assume 2 seconds it is taking from uh, from the server. Okay, 2 seconds it is taking, and so what it will do, it will skip this part and move ahead to the line number 3rd. It will see it is console log 2, and it will print 2. Now let's assume like 2 seconds is already done once the JS engine is here, and now your function is ready in the callback queue. So now the question is, like the JavaScript engine will come to this callback queue to execute it, like it is ready to execute or not. It will not come. The reason is still there is some task pending for the JavaScript engine to execute it. So this task, if it is already ready to execute, it will wait in the callback queue. It will wait until the JavaScript engine is not free. So now this function is ready to execute, but it is still pending because it is waiting in the event callback queue. Now console.log is executed. Now it comes to the line number 4 and it see, okay, it is set timeout. Again it is a asynchronous operation, so it will not wait for it. It will just register and start the timer API. So now the JavaScript engine is free. Now in the meantime it is executing. It will go to the event loop, check like I am free. If there is uh, in the queue I can pick. So event loop will tell the JS engine like, yes, we have one function ready to execute, like we have got the response from the server, you can execute it. So JS engine will pick from here and execute that. That's the simple work of JavaScript single threaded. Okay, so that makes it more performant. If I take the example of real life, like you can relate it better. So let's say you go into a hotel where you just book a table. So there will be a waiter will take your order. So there can be two scenario. That waiter is fully allocated to you. Okay, so I am just taking example. There is one table one table there, and one waiter is there. Okay, so this waiter just take the order from you and go back to the kitchen to make the order ready for you. Okay, and till that it will wait. Okay, so what is happening here, this one resource is waiting until the order is not ready, right? But that is the wastage of this resource, because let's say it is taking 1 hour. Okay, it is taking 1 hour to complete your order, like to prepare your food. So waiter is free for 1 hour because it is fully allocated to you. Okay, let's take the second scenario. Now the same thing is here. Let's take an example. So you just given one order, there is one waiter. So in this case what waiter did, take your order, given it to the kitchen, and it provides you the order number. Okay, so waiter came in to you and say, like, sir, this is your order number 123, and once it will be prepared, I will serve you. Okay, so now you have the order number 123, so you will wait for 1 hour, but waiter will not wait here. Okay, waiter will not wait. What it will do, let's say new customer come, new customer came, and table 2 order is ready. Okay, so now this waiter 1, okay, waiter 1 will take the order from table 2 as well. Okay, okay, so what is happening here, so I am just giving you the real time example, and I will relate it to the node.js as well. Okay, so in the first scenario, waiter was waiting. Okay, waiter was waiting for 1 hour. Okay, and it is allocated only for one table, so it was wasting time for 1 hour. But in the case 2, what we are doing, uh, the waiter is just taking the order, and like taking the order number, assigning it to the ask the customer like, this is your order number, and waiter is just taking the new orders from the new customers which they are coming into the hotels. So the same waiter will go to the table number 2. There can be case in the table number 3. So in the meantime, he is doing the same thing. Okay, so now it is fully allocated to take the new request as well. So once this order is ready, okay, this order is ready, he will came back to the table 1 and serve the order. Okay, so that is the best practice here. Like, that is the perfect use we are doing here of the waiter. Like, we are not wasting any time of the waiter, and it is like, it is the ideal case for the uh, I would say backend technology as well. Okay, let's take an example. So here, like, table means user, like someone from the table. So user means, we can say a website user, like a you just log into the Facebook. And waiter means API. Okay, API which we return in the node.js. So what this API is doing, it is taking the request from the user, and giving it to the kitchen is a server. So what API did? It came to the from the user, take the request, and send it to the server. And now it is not waiting because it is JavaScript, so it will not wait. So there is one, I can say, phrases is there, like, uh, time and tide, and JavaScript doesn't wait for anyone. Yeah, right. So because it is wastage of resources if it will wait for the 1 hour, 30 minutes, 20 minutes, or whatever the time is. So we are just wasting those time for that particular resource. So here the same thing is happening here. So the node.js, what will do, it will just register a callback, like this order number. So we have a registered callback, and it will move to the second user and take the request and assign to the server and assign the callback and move ahead. Once all the execution is done, go to the uh, event loop, see the callback queue, and pick from there and execute that. So that is the best utilization of the resource. So that's why we call the Node.js is more performant compared to other programming languages. Okay, so that is basics of JavaScripts. I will cover other stuffs like event loop, variable declaration, what is where, what is let, what is const. These type of questions will cover in the next session. But these I will provide this link to you for your reference. But yeah, that's the basic things which today I have covered about the asynchronous uh, single threaded, multi-threaded, how JavaScript works, what are the use case of JavaScript. You can build web applications, you can build mobile applications, you can do the development of games as well. Yeah, thank you guys.